Hello everyone. So today we are going to cover the Omni channel. Okay. Now, what we did yesterday is that we have seen that we created a high priority queue and there was an assignment rule on our case, which says that if case priority is high, then assign it to high priority cases queue. Now, there will be multiple users who will be working on this high priority queue. And initially, when your company is small, everything is fine and you will be able to handle the workload by just the assignment rules and you will not face any problem. But later on, what happens is that more your company grows, you will start getting more cases. Okay. And if let's say there are 10 users who are working on high priority queue, but your high priority queue will start getting more cases. Sometimes what happens is that because they have to manually pick cases from the high priority cases queue, all the 10 users, there will be cases when users will pick cases as per their own choice rather than what customer require. Okay, so sometimes what happens is that when a high priority case is created and it is a bit complex, your agents who will be working on those cases will not pick it and that will remain in the queue for a longer duration of time. For that we have escalation rules and everything, but the whole and soul here is that they have to pick it manually, and when they have to pick it manually, obviously they will involve their own choices. If some cases, let's say you have a rubrics by which on which you judge a service representative by number of cases he's solving. So he will obviously pick the easy case and try to solve it. He will not pick the complex case. So manually picking cases is really difficult, and for organizations which are getting so many cases, it is very difficult to manage the support with this model. Okay, so to automate this process, Salesforce has given us an option of omni-channel. What omni-channel does is that it provides you flexibility to automatically assign cases to your customer service representative. Okay, there are three ways you can do that in omni-channel. There is queue-based routing, there is skill-based routing, and there is external routing. Okay, we will not be talking much about external routing, but queue-based routing and skill-based routing we will be covering. So why we need omni-channel is something which I want you guys to understand first before going into how to create that thing. Okay, so we need omni-channel because we want to automate the case assignment process. Okay, we can see if our company is very large, we cannot assign cases automatically to users via assignment rules. And if we start creating workflow rules or process automations just to assign cases, there will be time when your case object will become very heavy. Just for the assignment purpose, you will have a lot of flows and triggers and workflow rule, and it will look really bad. And what happens is that some process automation will assign a case to high priority queue, some process automation may assign that case to a user XYZ, some trigger may assign it to a user ABC, and a case will get stuck sometime. Case may not get routed correctly if you will use different other tools to route cases to designated user. I have seen orgs which started using workflow rules and flows and triggers to assign cases to various users. After 6 months or 8 months, they started facing issue related to cases not getting routed to correct user, because they are routing that case to three different user via three different automation mechanism, and there is no documentation about who created what and why. Okay, so to avoid any of those bad practices in your org, you can take advantage of omni-channel. This will automate your process. This will automatically assign cases to your agents. Plus, it provides a lot of flexibility in terms of how you do that. Okay, so if it is a queue-based routing, it will set capacity of agent, how many cases a user can. Okay, if you normally do it, let's say there are 5 users in a queue and 500 cases are there are no capacity. So let's say one user just logged in and he may get all the cases. So there is a configuration which will set the capacity of users so that how many cases they can. With the skill based routing, you can define what skill set that particular customer support representative is expertise in, so that he get only relevant cases, not other cases. Because what happens is that if a user get irrelevant cases, he will spend some time on that case and then he will transfer that case to somebody else. But the time he lost on figuring out whom to send that case to and who will be right person to work on, that time lost is a useful time he could have used it on actual real case which he should be working on. Okay, so to avoid all these bad things happening on your org, we can use omni-channel to automate everything. Okay, so why we need omni-channel is the first question you should be answering if you get questions on the interview. Now, we already have case assignment rules, and any case which is of high priority will be assigned to high priority queue. Now we will see from high priority queue how we can automate this to forward that to different agents automatically. Currently, users will who are part of this high priority cases group will go to this queue and will pick the cases manually. Okay, so the first step to do omni-channel is to enable omni-channel. Okay, I think I have already enabled, but once you click omni-channel, you will get omni-channel settings. You will not get all the other options. You will only get these options when you enable it. So I have already enabled it. That is why I am getting. So first step is to,
Mohit,
yeah, hi.
sorry for interrupt. Good morning. You just told in their session, it's omni-channel is automatically assigned the cases from the queues. Okay, depends on the bandwidth. That means user have a how much of bandwidth. Okay, but omni-channel, how could that if I have 100 high priority of the cases in a queues and five users are working on that, then omni-channel, how could you decide the how much bandwidth of that particular users?
You will see that happening. So we will set the bandwidth every user has. Don't worry. We will set it. We will see practically. Okay. So
Sure.
first step is that we will enable the omni channel. Okay. Rest other steps are for the later. And this step is to enable the skill based routing. So currently it is not required. We'll just have to enable the omni channel and save it. Once you save it, you will get all the other options. Okay. So once you enable the omni channel, then you will have to do a couple of things. First step will be to create a, I think this is a different org. Let me open the other org. We used interview preparation batch 2, right? Not this one. Sorry. Okay. So once we enable the omni channel, we will have to create a service channel. Okay. I will show you what it is and how we do that first. Let me enable the omni channel. This should already be enabled. And then next step is to create a service channel. Okay, what happens is that service channel, if you see the definition, service channel route work from Salesforce object and such as cases chat leads to support agent. Okay, service channel basically creates your objects work into a work item. Okay, so we will create a service channel first, and we will create it for case service channel, and let other things remain same. Okay, once we create the once we create a service channel, we'll have to create the routing configuration. Okay, this routing configuration defines that what particular queue will have and what is the bandwidth and what will be the routing behavior. Okay, so I am going to say case routing channel. Okay, and there are multiple things. Okay, let me just there are multiple things you can see here. Okay, first is overflow assignee. Okay, what it says is that what will happen if your queue will be overflowed, which user you should choose to assign those cases to which are overflowed. It is not a mandatory thing, so we are not going to select anything right now. Routing setting, this is very important. Okay, first we'll have to select the routing priority. If you check the help text, it says that determine the order in which work items are routed to agents. Okay, so let's select one as the routing priority for this routing configuration. Okay, and then there are routing models. There are three routing models: least active, most available, and external routing. Most available means that whichever, let's say there are two users, user A and user B. Okay, and user, though they both have capacity of 10 cases at a time. Okay, and user A is currently working on 4 cases. I mean, he has 4 cases in his queue, and user A has and the user B only has 1 case in his queue. So user A is more available than sorry, the second user is more available than the first user because he is working on less number of cases. Okay, so most available routing model basically determines that which user is more available and then assign that particular case to that user. If there are two users who are available to assign the case, he will find that which of that user is more available and then assign that cases to that user. Okay. So then other is least active. Okay, least active is something where, let's say there are two users who have same capacity. Okay, but one user is working on a case which has more you can say the uh, urgency, or you can say a case which on which he's working and it takes more percentage of capacity of his load. Okay, so the least active is something I think I'll have to tell you with example. Okay, for now just understand most active. I'll explain least active more with an example, otherwise it will get confusing for you. Okay, we will select most available right now, that whoever is more available, it will assign cases to them. Okay, and then we have, okay, then we have capacity type. Capacity type is inherited, interruptible, and non-interruptible. For now, just select uninterruptible. If you select capacity type as interruptible, then if any high priority case which has more importance comes to your queue, then it will interrupt your, it may assign you more work as well. That's it. And skill-based routing rule we will not use here. Now here, if you see work item size means one case which will be assigned to you, uh, how much unit of capacity it will take of yours. So let's say you can only have uh, 10 capacity and one case is taking 3 capacity, then you will only be able to work on 3 cases because one case is taking 3 units of your capacity. Okay, so I will take it as one. Every case will have one capacity so that you can work on 10 cases at a time. Okay, you can select either percentage. It basically means that how much percentage of bandwidth a particular case will take of yours. Okay, so if one case is taking, let's say, 50% of your bandwidth, then at max you will be able to work on 2 cases. Similarly, if we define the units of capacity, if one case is taking, let's say, 2.5 units of your capacity, then you will be only working on 4 cases at a time if your bandwidth is of 10. Okay, so we will define how we do that. Okay, let me just save this. And there will be few things which will be confusing for you. Don't worry about them. We will discuss them more. Let's set up the basic model first, and then on top of that, we will do couple of other explanation. Okay. So after setting the routing configuration, we'll have to associate routing configurations with agent. Okay. So we created the queue, right? There was a high priority queue. Let's go to that queue. If you see that queue, we supported objects are cases, and let's say let me add the dummy user 2 as well. Now here you see that routing configuration lookup. So here on this, you will select the routing configurations. So we have case routing channel. We will associate this particular routing configurations with this queue. Okay. So that whatever happens in this queue, this routing configurations will take care of it. Okay. This is the next step. Now, after doing this, we will again go back to Omni channel and we will have to define the presence statuses and presence configuration. Okay. So presence configuration is nothing but it basically tells you that the capacity. Okay. So if you see this, let's create the new one, not this default one. See, define how much work agents can accept and which omni-channel features they can access. Okay, so let me call it case presence on. This is a bit configuration heavy thing, but this is just the one time thing. Okay, let's say we select capacity as 10. Okay, maximum amount of work that an agent can handle at a time. I selected 10 as a capacity. Okay. This is interruptible capacity. It says that maximum amount of interruptible work that an agent can handle at a time. If this value is blank, it defaults to the same value as the primary capacity field. We will mark it as blank. Here we check couple of checkboxes. Automatically accept work request. If you select this, then work item comes to the queue of that user, he will not have any option to reject it because work will get automatically assigned. In this case, cases will get automatically assigned to that user. Okay. So most of the time you will check it because you don't want your service representative to reject a work or decline a work. In that case, your case will suffer. Okay. Sometimes what happens is that you unchecked it and gave them option to decline work, and if a hard issue comes or issue comes which they will not be able to solve, they'll reject it, they will decline it, and then it will be routed to some other user. So that will not create a good atmosphere in your team. So we will mark it checked by default. Okay. There are a couple of audio settings because in omni-channel, when you make a user login, whenever new work comes in, that basically gives an audio sound. Okay, so we can set it up here, sound length and everything. And then we will have to select the users for the configuration. Okay, why I'm not able to see any user? I'm not sure. Let's select the profiles and save this. So presence configuration basically tells that how much work your particular user will be able to get, and couple of other things like whether he'll be able to decline the work, whether he'll have an option to decline the work, and all us other things as well, and couple of audio settings. I don't know why user option is not coming, but we will see that. Now, after setting the presence configuration, we will have to go to set the presence statuses. Presence statuses is basically the status you will get in your Omni channel, like online, available, offline, busy, on break, those kind of status. Okay. So let's set the status. This is for and our service channel is case service channel. So we will select that. And let's say this is online. So let's save this. We created one status. Let us go to the let's name it available. Save this. I have to create new as well. Yeah. So first is available. Let's say I select busy, um, call it line, save this. Okay, so these will be the statuses they will get when they log into Omni Channel. Now, once we create this presence statuses, we will have to associate these status with the profile of the user. Okay, so I am system admin. I can, let's say, duplicate this and go to the profile. So on profile, you will see these options. So if you go to profile, you will see this option, presence status.
Top we have.
Yeah, just a second. Yeah, you can see that enable service presence if status access. You will click on edit and you will get all the options available. You will have to select these options and make it available for this user and save this. Okay. Now we are almost done with it. Let us just see if Omnichannel is already there in the service console or not. Okay. So we will go to service console and Omnichannel is not here. So don't worry, let us go to the app manager. We will have to add the Omnichannel in the footer of the service console. So let's edit that. Yeah, guys, I know I have to cover it from the interview point of view, but then there are few things we only understand when we do those things, right? And this is something which I have done years ago. I have not worked on any service cloud projects from last couple of years, but yes, I know that these things are not difficult, easy. It's just that sometimes we have to see if we are missing something or not. So it's just configuration heavy thing, nothing complex in it. It's just that you'll have to follow these steps. Sometimes you miss a step in between and you miss up things there. So let's go to service console. And most of the questions will also be about I have done everything, yeah, and all, but my user are not able to see omni-channel. So those kind of, it's just that if you miss a step, so now we have added omni-channel, you can see it here. Now I have options available offline, and offline was by default also an option. So I could have used it as a break or something, okay, or busy. So if I make myself available, okay, I'm available in Omni channel. Now, if I create a high priority case, okay, let's say if I clone a case, and it very well is possible that it might not actually route, then we will see what is missing, okay? So this is just a test case for Omni channel routing. Okay, and we have assigned the priority as high. So this should go to the high priority queue, and then that should route that case to me because I am part of that queue. Okay, so let's save this, assign using active assignment rule. See, you can see that new work came on the queue, and this will have some irritating sound as well. Okay, so what we did is that we created a queue, and that queue and it we created a case, and that case was routed based on the active assignment rule and went to the high priority queue. But from high priority queue, all the users who are in the high priority queue, they will be logged in, and it will then determine which user has how much capacity, which is more available, and then it will assign it automatically. Okay, so currently I am the only person who are available on this queue, so it will assign to me. Otherwise, if there are multiple users, then it will check the calculations, and then we'll do these things as per that. Okay. All right, sorry. So I turned it off because this keeps on distracting me. When I turn it off, it just goes away from the widget. Okay, so let's revise what we did. Okay, we enabled the omni channel. We enabled the omni channel. Then we created a service channel. We created a routing configuration. Then we created the presence status or something, and then we created the uh, then we associated those presence status with the user. Okay, and then we added omni-channel on the visit and tested it. Okay, this is the process, and we did it bit fast, but yeah, let's take questions on this now. Yeah, Shikib, go ahead.
Yeah, Mohit. So Mohit, there was two things like units of capacity, and then in the presence configuration there was a capacity. So
Yeah,
as per my understanding, like the capacity in the presence configuration is like when the user are getting some cases, so how much cases they can take,
yeah,
right?
yeah, correct. You're
So in and the unit of capacity is like what are the weightage of that particular case,
correct,
right?
correct. You are right.
So, so the unit of capacity will be always static because whenever the case is created, so it's totally depend whether weightage will be the static or it will be dynamic.
Yeah. So let's say our presence capacity we set as 10, right? So we can have
Yeah.
10, let's say, cases. Okay, but under units of capacity, which we decided in the routing configuration, we say that unit of capacity is, let's say, 3. So what it basically tries to say is that every case you will get assigned, it will take 3 units from you. Okay, because in the presence capacity you have 10 units in total, so you can have 10 cases, but every case you will take 3 units of yours. So if every case is taking 3 units of yours, then you can only have 3 cases at max, because you do not have more presence capacity than that. Okay, so these two things are connected in a way that unit of capacity will determine that how many cases you can have at max depending on your presence capacity. So they both are connected, but unit of capacity determines that how much percentage of weightage one particular case will take of yours. Okay, so if it is, let's say, 25
So,
percentage, yeah, yeah,
so it will be static, like whenever the case is
yeah,
created, so
it
it's
will be
totally
static.
depend on
Yeah,
the, yeah,
it
it
will
will
be.
depend on the complexity of the cases. So there is no way like we can create like the complexity of cases.
Yeah, so in queue-based routing, this is bit static, but when we go to the skill-based routing, we can have those things even more flexible way. Okay, and we will see that.
So whatever the configuration we did, so it is only for the queue-based routing,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
for
Currently, it
skill-based.
is only for the queue-based routing. We are only doing for
Okay,
skill-based
okay,
routing. For
okay, okay.
skill-based routing, we will have a different set of things we need to do. Okay, and we will do those things as well. But it is bit more flexible, bit more advanced than our queue-based routing. See, queue-based routing is solving a problem which you were facing with the normal assignment rules, because your users were picking cases manually and they were doing the cherry picking. They were only picking the easy cases, and the hard cases were getting rejected, or hard cases were still remain on the queue, and your management was facing a lot of problems. So then you launch the queue based routing, so that users will not have choice to pick the cases manually, but they will get the automations. Via automations you will assign it automatically. Now you solved one business problem by doing this. Now this will have also a couple of business problems. Like sometimes a person is working on a very high important case, which is kind of tricky and something, but other users are getting easy cases, and at the end you are judging them by number of solved cases. So later on, you will even improve this process by skill-based routing, where you will have particular user for a particular skill set, and then you will define cases accordingly. Okay, so on skill-based routing, we have a lot of flexibility. We can also use Apex classes and flow to determine which case to be routed to what users and all. We will do that later on in this session only.
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead, go
So
ahead.
as per my understanding, omni-channel comes into the picture once the case is assigned to the queue, right? After that only.
Correct, correct.
Okay, that's one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we created a case. The default assignment happened via the assignment rule. So assignment rule will run first and will assign cases to the queue. And then later on, once the case comes in the queue and that queue has a routing configuration associated, okay, and every other thing is in place related to Omni setting, then that routing configuration associated on the queue will take care of routing the case to users via omni-channel. So if you will not define a routing configuration of a particular queue, then it will not work, even if you do all the settings right. Okay, so we'll have to associate the
So
routing configurations with the queue. Yeah.
So earlier we were using the round robin kind of thing, like to assign the cases to
Yep.
the user.
Yep.
So suppose my system has already implemented that thing. So will it hinder that implementation, or what will happen?
See, that is the classical case of having too many automations on your case. So let's say you are also routing your cases via round robin. You are also routing your cases via omni-channel. You are also routing your cases via Apex trigger. You have written case trigger and doing all those things. Then in that case, it will be on you to determine which ran first and which did the automations, and ultimately the case will suffer. So it is always a good idea to have one automation tool to do the routing. Like if you are using the omni-channel, then rely on omni-channel, improve, but do not use other tools. In that case, what will happen is that if your round robin is running via Apex trigger will run fast and do all those things. Maybe omni-channel run later or maybe not run. Or if I'm not sure if it will throw any error. What was happening earlier is that if you will do it via Apex trigger, it will run first, it will assign cases to someone, and then later on Omni channel will also run, it will assign it to someone else. And uh, then later on you have to figure it out, like how you will need to check the case history, like what were the different owners this case has gone through, and then you will figure it out what automations ran. So in that case,
Okay, so
there will be
so
multiple.
in that case, like we will have to migrate that thing to the omni-channel.
Yeah, if you have decided to use omni-channel, then obviously you will have to retire the old round robin which you were using. Obviously, you will have a greater discussion with your leads and on using omni-channel. Like you, obviously, in any production org, you will not have two automations running on the same thing, right? Like omni-channel and traditional round robin as well.
Okay.
Okay, so see, in the orgs, the major problem, very new org phase or the org which do not have any technical architect or somebody who can design it, that okay, they got new requirement. Okay, any case which has, let's say, type as this should be routed to this queue. So they will write a workflow rule, or they will write a flow to do that. Okay. Later on, somebody else came. They on the same type, they routed it to any other queue. Now there are two workflow rules which are routing the same case to different queue, and you have no idea who created the first workflow rule. You have no idea who created the second workflow rule, and then you will debug like why cases is not going to this queue, why cases are going to that queue, and then you will have to debug a lot of things in order to come to the conclusion that we have done very bad automation on case routing. We will have to use a unified tool to do that. Yes, Manjunath, go ahead.
Yeah, Mohit. Mohit, we have a types of a routing configuration, right? It's like one is with Apex and other one is with sure. How many types we have?
Sorry, can you repeat again what you were saying? Which
We
type?
have a type of routing configuration, right? We have Apex routing configuration. We have a other types. I don't remember like I know only like Apex. We have any other types of routing configuration? For
See,
example, what?
when we go to the routing configurations, see, there are, if you use Apex, the Apex opens the whole Pandora's box. Okay. And if you use, I mean, if you use the external routing, you can have it customized as per what you want. Okay, but that will also involve a lot of coding. That will also involve a lot of technical work. That will also involve a lot of development work. So every org will not ready for it. If you can do it with a simplified way by using normal options, then going to Apex should be your last option. Like, if I have actually very complex routing mechanism, and like I check 10 different fields and 10 different things before routing that case to a queue, then we can have the external routing, or we can have the Apex defined routing, where in the Apex class we will check if the case status is this, and then type is this, and yes, this, then assign it to that owner. But if our business model is pretty simple, if a high priority case comes in, assign it to high priority queue, and then assign it to the people in the omni channel which are available in that queue. Then we will go for the basic model. So it depends on where we are in the current system, and then what is the need from that system. We will not directly go to the external routing or Apex routing in the first step. We will see if we actually need it or not. Okay. And when you see the skill-based routing, you will see that we'll have to configure it a lot. We'll have to create an Apex class, and we will have to might create a flow as well to route that particular work item to the queues. So it gives you a lot of flexibility. Okay.
Okay.
Queue routing is very
Yeah.
simple. It is for very simple use case when you just want your cases to get automatically assigned from the queue. That's it. It is very simple, and it is like basic model, you can say.
Okay. Can you please show that this one Omni supervisor so that people are aware on that Omni supervisor we have, right?
Yeah, Omni supervisor is there, and there are configurations to do that. I will cover that once I cover the skill-based routing first. Then we will go to
Did we have to do the configuration for that?
skill-based routing first.
No, no, no. We have a Omni supervisor tab, right, where it will show all the cases getting created, where supervisor can monitor.
Yeah, so I think we'll have to create the Omni supervisor configurations first. Let's see what
At
it.
the app launcher, can you search for the Omni supervisor? Okay, at the app launcher.
Yeah, just a second.
In app builder, might be is that Omni supervisor, but I think this time is not a working. Salesforce has recently released Omni supervisors in a app launcher app builder.
We have Omni supervisor something, yeah.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
whatever the cases are routed, we will monitor here whether it is coming or not. If it is coming here, it means that it is creating the work item record.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you can see that this user is available right now, and he has assigned to this queue, and you can see that his current capacity and how many work item he's currently working on, for how long he is in the active status. You can do a lot. See, this is helpful for classical case where you have, let's say, a call center where there is a team lead, 10 associates are working under him. He'll have to monitor all the 10 associates, so that he'll see that who is online, who is not available, who is working, who is not working. Okay, those kind of thing. So you can do all these things from here. Okay.
Mohit,
Yes, yes, okay, Boro.
yeah, overflow assignment एक बार फिर
Yeah.
से समझाओ क्या?
Overflow assignee is that, let's say, okay, we did not selected that. Let's say we go to service channel and go to the overflow. It was not here, it was in routing configurations. And these are the things you will learn more when you actually do these things. So don't worry if these few things are confusing. It's okay, that are confusing for everybody, not only for you. But okay, overflow assignee. Okay, it says that set the user or queue that omni-channel routes item 2, when your org reaches omni-channel limits, select a user or queue that has access to the object that the queue using the routing configurations handle. Okay, so this says that whenever your omni-channel route items reaches the limit, then what should happen? Which queue or user it should assign those cases to? And what are the limits? I need to check. Like how will we find that we have reached the limit of omni-channel? That is something I will check. Okay. And if you check this checkbox, use with skill-based routing rules. Okay, there is one option, skill-based routing rules. And if you define some rules here and assign skills, it may route the cases directly from queue based on that rule as well. Okay, we will check that. Okay, yes, Avdesh, you have a question. Go ahead. No? Anyone has any other question? Cool. So for the skill-based routing, the first thing you need to do is to create skills. Okay. So let's say I create a skill, English. So if a case language is English, it should be assigned to user having English as skill. Okay. Similarly, we will create for other language as well. Let's say I created another skill called French. And save this. We need not to provide anything. These are only for the chat related things. We are not talking about chats right now. Now, the moment you create these skills, you will have to, the second step is to create the service resources. Okay. Service resources for the users you have in Salesforce. So currently I do not have any service resource. Okay, now let's create a service resource named interview web 2. And we'll have to select the user. This is the important thing. You'll have to select the resource type as agent. So that system will understand that this is the omni-channel agent. Okay. And you will have to activate it. The moment you activate it, you will have to go to the related list and you will have to add this skill which you created recently to the. So I want to add both these skills to this user. Save this. Okay. Now this user has both of these skills. Okay. So the next step is to go back again to setup. Now let's create another routing configuration. Now there is one option, skill-based routing rules. Okay. It says that route work items to the right agent by mapping work item field values to agent skill. So from here also we can define this let's say case routing. And from here we can select the object, and from here we'll get option to select the fields of object case. And let's say if I select the status, ideally there will be a field called language, and based on that we will do the routing. So if I, let's say, create a field on case, say this is test field. I mean, it depends on what rule you want to have. I want to have a simple rule so that I can teach this, but English, French, just two languages, okay? And let's save this. Let's refresh this. And we call it skill routing rule. And now you can see that language option is here. So you will select it. Now in this stage, it will say for which language you want to associate which skill. So for English language, I want to associate English skill. For French language, I want to associate French skill. Mark it as done. Okay, so that is done on the routing configuration. Sorry, on the let's go to the queue. On the high priority queue, let us change the routing configuration. Okay. So it was using case routing configurations. I wanted to use skill routing configuration now. Okay. And save this. On the routing configuration, I want to route this based on skill-based routing rules. So I will edit it and I will mark it as use with skill-based routing rules. Both these skills I want to select and then save the record. See, this skill-based routing rules are very basic layman's thing it will provide you, but it can be improved a lot by using Apex and using flows. So I will show you that thing as well later on. So I think all this setup is done. Now let us create a high priority queue, mark myself available. And let us create a high priority case with the French language and see if it works. Okay, it may very well may not work because I'm also doing this thing in, like, I don't know, long time. Let's create a high priority case, select the language as French and use it via active assignment rules and save this. And it did not pass the case to me. So high priority case is still there, but I did not get the case. That is fine. It's okay. I will show you other way around. I have not tried this earlier as well, so that's okay. All right, no problem. Let's go to the routing configuration and turn it off like a skill-based routing rule, okay? And then we will use a flow to route this. Okay, let's turn it off. Let's also deactivate the skill-based routing rules. Okay, let us go to setup create a new flow. I want to create a new flow on case. Whenever a case is created, and language field is not blank, okay? Language field is null, false. Then I want to route this case, okay? Case routing flow. And you can also do this via Apex, of course. And let us select the action. So there is already an action route work. Salesforce has provided this route work action. So I'm going to use it. Route cases. It will give us multiple options. I want to select it on a single record case. So I'll select the case ID. It asks which service channel. So I have case service channel already available. I will use it. Now it will ask if you want to route it via queue or via skills. So I want to route it via skills. So I will select skills, and then it will ask if you want to define this skill requirement or run skill-based routing rules. I don't have to define skill requirement because that is fine. And it also runs the skill-based routing rule. So you can also use that. And let us select the routing configuration. Skill routing configurations. I already have. Just a second, guys. Skill requirement. Okay, let's see. But we have disabled it. I don't know what is the role of this skill-based routing rule. So let's enable it. Okay. Let's save this. Routing configuration is fine. Save this. And now I'm available in Omni Channel. Let us create another case. Priority is high, language is French. I want to sign it by active sign rules. Let's save this. You can see I've got a new walk. The sound is very irritating. Okay, so that's how we get a case. Now there will be confusions in your mind. And it is completely okay to have confusions related to this thing. Okay, but what I want you guys to do is, this is the DevOps on which I have done all these things. So, and you also have video now of this. You can try these things on your own DevOps. See, there will be questions from Omni Channel if you say that you have worked on Omni Channel or you know Omni Channel. If you say you have not worked on Omni Channel, there will not be any questions. But if you say you have worked on Omni Channel, it obviously makes your case stronger. So even if you have worked on your dev org and have done all these things, you will be comfortable in answering the questions. Okay, so I suggest you guys to do it on your own org and try all these steps. There are multiple steps you are doing, and sometimes in your mind you will get confused, like what was the first step, what I created, why it is not working. Once it is but much possible that when you try these things, it may not run as per the way you want, and that is okay, but then you will figure it out why it is not running. So that finding and exploring thing basically will make you stronger in this topic. Okay, there is no definition or theoretical part. I want you guys to focus on this thing. I just want you to do these things on your own devoir and try this in front of your screen rather than just going to the theory, because there is no theory. Theory does not make any sense if you have not done this practically, because you will not be able to explain in an interview. But if you have done it practically, even if you're not able to answer the theoretical question, you will still be able to convince the interviewer that you know this thing. Okay. All right. Just a second. Yeah. Where else we can use service? See, we can use service resources for the work. See, when you, if you guys have worked on field service lighting, you might have seen the work order. So similar to case, we have work orders as well. When you work on chats, then also service resources will become handy. Uh, More than cases, I have used them in the work order when we were working on FSL POC and then later on the project. So service resources will be very helpful for FSL as well. You will get to see later on when you work on that project. Okay, see, Omnichannel understand the service resources when it comes to the skill-based routing. Although in the backend it is user only, but then it will, if you not create service resources, it will not work. It will not assign cases to, because it assign cases to service resources in the backend. And then that presence configuration and all will work. Yeah, Manjunath, go ahead.
What is the name of that action of the flow which we have do?
It is route work. It is route work. So there was a legacy action as well earlier, which was skill-based routing, something like that. But then that was replaced by the route work. So I'll show you.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's the reason.
Yeah, and this is not the only way. Like you can have Apex classes as well. Apex classes will then there is a very good article on that. Skill-based routing.
And just for information, I just want to put it here. Like we have a set of tables associated with this Omni channel, like work item table, the PSR table. So that is the best way to troubleshoot if the cases or work items are not moving.
See,
Just for the information.
yeah. If you see this is the Apex code for skill-based routing. So what it does is that it checks the cases, then all the skills, then loop through the cases.
Screen is not visible.
Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, there's a very good article on Apex hours. If you check that, you will see that there is a video as well. And there are so many videos available on YouTube, guys. This is not something which I'm teaching for first time or something. This is, I mean, YouTube is filled with the resources and channels and videos available on this, and everyone has done so good to teach all these things. So uh, my intention to show these things here is so that you understand that this is not a theoretical topic. You will not be able to cover this with just theory. You will have to do practical thing, no matter how uncomfortable this makes you. If you do this, then only you will be able to say that you have worked on this. Otherwise, if you say you have worked on this and know all the definition related to omnichannel, still you will fail, because this requires practice. So you can go through video and link. Let me also put it on chat. So this is the Apex class, okay, by which they are doing all the routing. Okay. I want you guys to explore it and see if this makes sense to you. And if not, there are other videos who have done this skill-based routing via Apex code. You guys can figure it out. Okay. It is not a difficult thing. Okay, one thing I wanted to show that is assigning cases. There is one setting, okay. Um, Anybody remember that setting? Just
Port setting?
so when we create this new case, right? When we create a new case, it shows that assign using active assignment rules. I don't want this to be available here or checked. I want this to be checked automatically in the backend. There is some setting in the backend to do this.
Available, it will be available on page layout, I think.
Yeah, correct. You are right. 100% right. Yeah. So if you go to the case object, page layout. So here you can see, right? If user has to manually select it, and sometimes if they forget, even if everything is fine, the case will not be routed as per the assignment rule. So we have to remove this field from this page and make it selected automatically in the backend so that user need not to do that. So if I go to the page layout, and this is our page layout, in the feed view, in the feed view, if you go, it says that just a second, it will be right here. You do the name of this.
It's under layout properties.
Yeah, correct. Yep, right. So I just wanted to tell you guys that this is case assignment checkbox. If you check this one, then it will show on the case detail page, creation page. But if you mark it as default, okay, then it will be checked automatically. So now if you create a new case, the reason why I'm telling you is that this was a question which was asked by one of the interviewer from, and one of my student faced this. So now you can see that that checkbox is gone, and it is really tricky. Like you can see that even I have done this thing in past. I forgot that thing, like where that setting is and where that. I know that there is some checkbox which I need to check, but I will not be able to tell in the interview that where to go, where to find it. So if you have done it, you will be able to do that. So you now know that you can go to the page layout, and under the layout property, there is a checkbox. If you check it default, then it will be automatically checked. If you check show on the detail page, then it will show on the detail page. Okay. All right. That should be, let me stop the recording first.